It's the late night build.
What just, what? Wait, what? 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 What just happened? Oh, I guess you could say mistakes were made. Welcome in, everybody. This is not the late night build. This is mistakes were made. Why? Because just like the sign mentions, kind of like the end of my commit messages, all of them. Mistakes are always made. That's right. How are you doing? You know what? Let's update. Let's make sure people know what's going down. Let's make sure we know what's going down. Mistakes were made because I know how to type. The notice went out wrong. The notice said that Paris and Naren are on the channel. They're not. No. That's because I forgot to update it. Mistakes were made. How's everybody doing? It's so good to see you again. It's Friday. Boy, that's a mistake as well. Lots of mistakes around here. I hope you're having a great end of your week and are excited about the weekend. In the U.S., we've got a long weekend. It's Labor Day on Monday. So many things to do. I see a lot of friends in chat. We got Leading Lady. We got Greg. We got Cadillac. We got Finite. We got Cyrus. Cyrus, you can't change my VS Code theme here. There is no VS Code theme. Do you see it? Is this moving? Is it just mirrors? That's moving, isn't it? We are getting fancy around here. Hey, listen. So what are we going to do on mistakes made? Mistakes made? I can't even say the name. Mistakes were made. It's just like it's like this avalanche of mistakes. Seems about right. Par for the course, I guess. So listen, what are we going to do? We're going to learn. We're going to learn together. And we're going to make some mistakes because that's cool. That's cool. Hey, listen, you learn from our mistakes, right? It is, or else the Friday enhancers are kicking in. Something is amiss, I tell you. I moved. Mistakes were made. We're going to learn how to make mistakes. Listen, if you're a developer, listen, we talked about this yesterday with some friends, and we've come to the conclusion that about 20% of your development life is spent doing like daily stand-ups, meetings with clients, defining scope, that kind of thing. About 15% of your time is spent actually writing code. And then the other, 65% of your time is going to be spent doing console log, console dir, debugging stuff that you did. Your mistakes. So we're going to talk about that kind of stuff, and we're going to learn something today. Are you ready to learn? I'm so excited to share something with you today. It's something that I love doing, and I think it's a cool thing for teams building. It's developing your code inside of a Docker container. What? What, Michael? What? The container, you say? The container, I say. We've all seen like applications that run in containers, right? A lot of people have that running in production. A lot of them have QA that are in containers. But for some reason, like going up that pipeline of DevOps, we get back to the developer who's just writing on their laptop. But what if we could write our code in the container and then we ship the dev computers? Yes, Cyrus. What if we could build in a container and then like even let that container be like eventually the image that gets turned into a production image? Ooh. You don't say, Michael. Why would I want to do this is probably your first thought, right? Seems like a lot of extra hassle. Why would I want to develop in a container? I've already got, say, VS Code installed on my computer. I'm going to show you why. You ready to learn? Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, developers and users? I don't know what else I would say there. Are you ready? Can I get well, we don't have thumbs up, can I? Do we? +1 in chat if you're ready. VS Code plus remote containers is awesome sauce. Finite singularity, we're going to talk all about it. It's absolutely awesome sauce. Developers and project managers, okay. We're gonna talk about it today, and it's you're gonna be amazed. Thumbs up for learning. There is a thumbs up. Thank you, leading lady. I'm intrigued. You have my attention. All right, let's get to it. What are we doing? Over there. Mistakes were made. We're developing a set of containers. So let's do the do, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna hardly container myself. I see what you did there. That's very clever. You. Okay, let's get to it. I'm gonna open up terminal. Are you familiar with terminal? This is just a terminal. Nothing special about this terminal. That containers directory is a container. I mean, it is a container. It's containing stuff. Right now, it's empty. It's not containing anything. But I guess a container that's not holding anything is still a container. But this is not the container that we are talking about. This is just a folder. This is not the container you are looking for. It's just a folder. I'm going to ls just so you can see there's nothing in that directory. I created it just before the stream. And I'm going to open up code in that window. Why, hello there. Hello there, code. You'll notice there's nothing in there. It's just empty. It's just all by its lonesome. Sad, sad little container. Sad, sad. So let's see where we can take it. Chris Jones, good to see you in the house. In the house. You know what? Let's get started. Let's do like a something. Let's like stay like as far as code goes. Let's stay on the lighter end and not worry so much about the code, and more worry about not worry, but more learn about the container part of it, right? So I'm just going to npm. Let me npm init. What is this called? Oh, it's called containers, I guess. Version? Sure. Yeah. I don't, whatever. Yeah, it sure looks good. Looks good. Okay. So now I've got a package JSON in here. Yeah, I do. I'm going to click. So first thing you're going to need for this is VS Code. And then you're going to need, there's a special extension for VS Code called Remote Containers. There's actually another one. I think I've got it. Remote Development down here. Remote Development is actually like a, what do they call it? It's like one of those extensions, like a bundle extension. It has like multiple extensions inside of it. One of them is Remote Containers. That's the one we're worried about today. So you'll want to install that extension as well. And that's all you'll need. That's it. That's all. So with that installed, I get this neat little button in the bottom left. And you'll need Docker. Yeah, you'll need Docker. I should have prefaced it. You will need VS Code. You will need Docker and that extension. Don't finite singularity. Don't distract us with facts and truth. I can't be bothered with that here. We're going to click on that and say reopen this folder in a container. It's going to say, what kind of container do you want? Now, it's already looked inside of our folder and saw that we have a package JSON. So it's going to suggest you probably want like a Node.js container or a Node with Mongo or Postgres or Salesforce or Node and TypeScript. You know, these basic ones. There's tons of them, okay? So this is not just for somebody developing with JavaScript and Node. Let's look at all of them. You got, you can do Docker inside of Docker. It's amazing the stuff you can do. Azure Blockchain, Azure CLI, Azure Functions with Node, Azure Terraform, Bash, GitHub Codespaces, C++, Dapper, Dart, Deno, Elm, Go, Hugo, Java, Java 8, Markdown, Perl, PHP, PHP with Maria, PowerShell, Puppet, Python 3, R, Reason, Ruby, Ruby on Rails, Ruby and Sinatra, Swift, Vue, lots of different ways to do Azure Functions. Dapper with C#, F#, C#, Jekyll, Python 3, some more. There are tons of containers already, like environments pre-built and ready for you to use with this. I see you have Docker. So we've Dockered your Docker. I'm just going to choose Node.js. what that's going to do is pull down a basic image for, rebuild it. It's going to pull down an image for basically it's like a node image. And then it's got some things that it does, makes it all nice and pretty. It gets it all set up for you. Then it reloads your folder as a shared volume with that container. Okay, so your code is still on your computer, but it's mounted that directory with your code into the container. And that's what it opens here. So we're already there. We're already open. I'm actually running, you can't see my taskbar, but I'm running in Windows. And you'll notice the console here. Hey, Joker. That ain't Windows. That's not like a command prompt or PowerShell. That's the dreaded bash on Windows. Because that container is a Linux container. Oh my. Michael, what? Yes. It's pretty cool. So, I can do all kinds of stuff here. Why would I want to do this? Okay, let's go through. Splish, splash, according to Bo, good to see you. Listen, why would I want to do this? Let's talk about some reasons. Number one, let's talk about security, okay? You know, when you're developing, no matter what you're developing, what framework, language, whatever, you have to download things like CLIs or SDKs or all these different things. And then you get in this weird state of having all this mess on your computer, and then you got to keep it updated. What's funny is like Java, the Java runtime. They say that Java hasn't changed in like 20 years, but for some reason, I still get an update like every week. Java needs to update. You should install this. No, I don't want that on my machine anymore. I'm sick of it. Or, hey, our super duper product has a CLI you can use. That's wonderful. I love CLIs. Just install it on your computer. No, you stop. You stay away from my computer, sir. No. I don't like it. Not to mention things like Facebook SDK was hacked in the last, I think it was year and a half. What happens when any of these things have exploits on them? Well, they've opened windows of attack on your computer. I don't have no time for that. Okay? That's all I can do to keep up with the code that I've got to write on a daily basis and play my Animal Crossing at night. Those two things, I have no time for anything else. Not even my kids. I certainly don't have time for SDK exploits, right? So number one, security. I don't want those things on my machine anymore. We're going to show you how not to do it. How to do it. How to do the don't do the. I think you understand if I don't. Number two reason, okay? Let's say you join a development team, and we've probably all lived this. You join the development team, and they're like, here's your bright, shiny new laptop. This is the repo where all of our code is, right? And then you log into your laptop and you do like a git clone and bring down your repo, and you're like, yes, I'm going to be so productive. I'm going to show these people I am the developer they have been dreaming of. And then you go to build, and the build fails because you don't have this SDK and this CLI and this blah, 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 and this blah, blah, blah. And then you go to some of the other developers and you're like, hey, I got this error because blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, yeah. We forgot to tell you, you got to download the Wikimawak CLI. And you got to go handle all that. Okay. And then you get all that going and, hey, yeah, let me now, I've got all my stuff. Let me go hit build, and it fails again because, we forgot to tell you there's that Oomby Goomby API key you've got to have set up in your environment variables. You don't have the private key for a WikiWaki? That API needs a private key. You've got to get one of those first. So you spend days, if not a week, just trying to get your machine set up right so that you can start writing code. So the whole first week, you're like, banging your head against the desk. Like, boy, the day one is like, I'm going to show them what I got. I'm going to show them what I got. And by Friday, you're like, sweet mother, no. It's a quandary, I tell you. It's a quandary. So how can we make that better? How can we have, when you spin it up, your laptop is ready to go, your development environment is ready to go the minute you turn it on? We'll do that too. Numero trace. This kind of goes back to to part one. But have you ever, if you've ever developed with .NET, you probably went at some point and played with .NET Core. And you're like, ooh, this fancy CLI, I can .NET build. What happens when you have customer A, who you built an app for a year and a half, 2 years ago on .NET Core 2, and then you installed .NET Core 3 because you got customer B who you built some new hotness for. And then you go back to customer, you go to any of these and you go .NET build. Well, which one's getting used? Same thing happens with Python. There's so many of these that work that way. Even with like NPM, right? With Node, what version am I running against? Is it 8? Is it 10? Is it 12? Who knows? We're just up. It's up in the air. We can maybe use NVM or something with Node, or there are ways around it, but it's a frustration and a pain point. Let's alleviate that. What if you didn't have to have Node installed on your computer? Oh my! In this case, technically, I do have Node installed on my computer, but we're going to play with a CLI that I don't have installed on my computer today. Let's go through some of the settings. Are you ready? Are you signed up? Are you signed up? You're ready for this now? You're thinking, hey, this makes a lot of sense. Those are pain points. I get it. Show me, oh Baldwin, how we can alleviate this pain. Finite Singularity says, my current project has 5 containers that are spun up. Django, Postgres, Celery, Redis, and an NGX proxy. It's the same setup in dev as it was deployed to production. That's cool. A week, fastest IT team ever there. Marathon. It can last longer, can it? Interesting. I have a repo for my own Docker setup for projects, but this might be worth using instead. Greg, it's amazing. I got my dev set up in 3 weeks. Cyrus, that's the problem. We're going to alleviate that problem for you. Are you ready? What was the VS Code extension called? It's called Remote Containers. Let's crack the neck. I didn't crack, by the way. I don't know what I was doing there. Let's get to it. So we're running in a container here, right? And when we do that, it creates a .dev container folder for us. And then in there, it has a Docker file, which is exactly what you'd think it is, a Docker file. And then there's also a dev container.json. Let me open this up full screen. Let's look at both of these. So this is just using a Node.js Docker file. There's other things we could do, like if we wanted to. I'll give you an example of one I did earlier. Let me see if I can find it. And when I say let me see if I can find it, I know where it is. I can find it. Ain't scared. Scared. You don't know who I am. You don't know me. Yeah. Let me look in this folder. Let's look in this Docker file. Where is Notepad? Yeah. In this one, this Docker file, is it this one? Maybe it's the wrong one. Is this the wrong one? Hey, guess what? This is the wrong one. I promise I can find it. I know how to work. I know how to do this. Notepad again. Let's zoom in. Yeah. So in this one, I want it. Is this one? Wait. Oh, I didn't do it here. So there's other commands. Like this is just a Docker file. So if I want to install things, if I want to install other CLIs and stuff during my containers creation, I could put it in the Docker file. It'll do just fine. You can see things like that. Hey, here's an optional one. like run sudo node npm install global your package list here. Sure, I could do that. In fact, we may very well do that later on. We have another option, this dev container JSON. This just specifies that, hey, I want a Docker file. It's going to be an environment of Node.js. I want 14 as the version. Okay. The terminal, I want to use bin bash inside of the container. And then I've got some extensions here. Just ESLint is all that's there. If I'm building like a front end, like a web app or something, or maybe I want to be able to hit an API from outside, then all we have to do is uncomment this and say, let's say that I'm building a Vue app in this container and it's being hosted on 8080. All I have to do is say 8080. Actually, I think we got to make it a string. And then when this container reloads, it will automatically expose port 8080 in the container to port 8080 on my host machine, so that I can go to my browser like normal and test it, even though all the code's running in the browser. It is, Greg. It's crocked a little bit. Yeah. I mean, Exy. And by the way, hello, Exy. I saw your message. I see you. I see you. Pretty sure I've spent longer creating a Docker file than writing code for some projects. Just there's a dev container in the repo. Dev containers are amazing. Brett, I know you've used this before. It's one of those things, once you get it set up, you're like, oh my gosh, I will never go back. I will never go back. So there's other things you can do, like this post create command. And I'm going to use that right now, in fact. So this is running inside of a Docker container. I could technically go, let's do index.js. Yeah, sure, ESLint's fine. Thank you, sir. We're not in the middle of a stream here. Don't mind us. And let's just do something like console.log. We did the do. Okay. And then let's go to our terminal, which is bash, and we should be able to go like node index.js. We did the do. Okay, that's not running on my machine, it's running in a container. But maybe I want to use some third-party thing, right? I want to use some kind of external SDK or CLI. If I only knew a company that had a CLI that we could play with and test things. Who could we do? Oh, wait, there's a Nexmo CLI. Oh, well, isn't that convenient? Let's play with it. Just to show you, this is my terminal on my local machine. Let me see LS here. I'm going to run Nexmo. What's a somebody who's familiar with the Nexmo CLI? Maybe Lorna, maybe Greg. What's a command? What would be a command you would run on V maybe, or just V? Would that be a command that tells you like what version? You know what? I got the documentation open right here. Maybe I should just look at it. Let's see. Nexmo numbers list. Okay, let's run that command. We know how to do it. Numbers list. Well, how dare he? How dare he? Lorna, good to see you as well. Hey. We don't know who Nexmo is around here, so I don't have it installed. Okay, I don't have it installed locally, but we can. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna install it locally because I just don't like it. I do like it, but I don't want it on my machine. I don't want any of this stuff on my machine. So in this post create command, I'm gonna edit it and say npm install Nexmo CLI globally. Save that, and then I'm going to come down and say rebuild this container. It's rebuilding it, and as part of that building process, it'll run that post create command, or should. And now in the container here, now notice I still don't have Nexmo local, but in my container, do I? I don't think it'll work because I haven't signed into my account, but it should at least tell me could not read credentials. It's installed in my container, I can run commands. I just haven't set it up yet. Oh my. Oh my. Okay, so I need to set it up. But Michael, what? Wait, Michael, what you want the developer to know that? No, I don't. Not at all. So I'm going to do Nexmo. Well, this actually might work. Will not work in this order because we need to refresh it. So I'm going to take this out of here and put it in the Docker file. And in this wonderful Docker file, I'm going to say I think I can do this. We'll see. Npm install Nexmo CLI globally. And then here, say Nexmo setup. I'm about to sneeze. I feel it. Sneaky devil. Sneaky devil. He just went away. He didn't come. There's no sneeze. Silly. Okay. So, I mean, there's different ways that I can do this. But the easiest way is for me to just to put something in here. Do I want to do that here? Let's do it here. Run Nexmo setup. Now I'm going to need like an API key and an API secret. I hope at your organization that whatever you do for your developers, you have separate accounts. Like you're not giving your developers production accounts to play with because that's just not a good idea. But hopefully, I'm going to move this over so you can't see it. You can't see this. You can give them dummy accounts. Okay. Close that down. We'll see if that works. Not COVID. It's not COVID. I'm going to rebuild this container because I've got a change to that Docker file now. I've got a, what do you call it? A run command in that Docker file. So, how do I get it to load? It's in there. Let's see if we've got Nexmo. Let's see, Nexmo numbers list. Look at that. Look at that. So now, if I'm a developer and I pull this down, I can open this in a container and the Nexmo CLI is already set up. So if I have anything built in that would need it, I'm good to go. Or if it was the Azure CLI or Google Cloud CLI or heaven forbid the AWS CLI. I'm kidding. It's a total joke. Any of those CLIs or SDKs you need to have installed, you can have pre-installed in your container. One of the things that's cool about it too is, like in this case, you can see there's like an extension there. It's bringing in ESLint. What if there's another extension that I want to have available to all my developers in this container? I don't necessarily want them to have to install this extension, but I want them to have it when they're working on this project. So what's an example? Okay, let's say we're building a Vue app. If I'm building a Vue app, if you haven't used I think it's called Vueter or Vueter. How's it? Vueter. There it is. Oh, there it is. Feeder. I don't know how you pronounce that, but that's a good extension if you're building a Vue app. How do I make sure that whoever's building this app has access to that? Because it will just help their workflow. Or perhaps I want them to have Google pull requests. All I got to do is go get that ID and add it here. But you know what? I've already got that one installed locally. Let's pick one that I don't. Let's see. I don't have VS Code snippets View VS Code snippets. So I don't really need it for this project though. Let's look for something for Node. Search Node modules. No. Node extension pack. I don't know what that is. What's a good extension that I should probably have if I'm working in JavaScript and Node? What about Blazor? You can do that here too, Chris. The only thing I have found that you can't do in containers is like WinForms and WPF, or like you can do Swift, but you can't really do native stuff like Android and like iOS, that kind of stuff, you know. But otherwise, all the other, now if you're building it with like native script, that's maybe an option. Or React Native, you could. NPM, okay. NPM support for VS Code. I don't have that installed. So let's click on it and we're going to say, listen, when anybody opens this project, they need to have that available to them. All right. I'm going to rebuild my container because I've already kind of built it and it doesn't have it. And see if it does the do. Have you done the do? Look at that. It's got it segregated. So like up top there are all the extensions that I have locally on my machine. And then down here are just the extensions I have loaded in the container. That's right. That's pretty sick, isn't it? Can we get a, come on, that's pretty good. So now, like ESLint is something that I might want on my JavaScript projects, but I don't want it maybe on my C# projects. But maybe I want something else on my C# projects. You know what I mean? That's pretty doggone cool. Maybe I am an evil genius. And I decide that if you work on this project, God bless you, you need the hot dog stand theme. What if I install a new extension locally? Okay. If I wanted to install, this gives me the option. Like it realizes that I don't have hot dog stand locally, and it gives me the option to install it. Just any old extension, Eggsy? If I just want to install any old extension, what kind of extension you want to install? Let's just type ST. What kind of extensions come up? I don't know what any of these are. Markdown preview. I'll install it. I have the option. Right now it's going to try and install it in the dev container. Gitlins? Okay. I don't have Gitlins installed. I don't think. No, there it is. So it's going to try and install it into that container. I think over here, I can't remember if like this one installs it in the container. Let's hit that one and see what it does. Reload required. Let's get rid of the search and see where it thinks it put it. See, it installed it into the container. So it's not in my local environment. Is it? Is it? Is it? Nope. I don't have it installed locally, but I have it installed in my container. And actually, I don't want it, so don't worry. Don't worry about it. Okay, thanks. Bye. Maybe I want to do some other stuff, like, these post create commands are the same way, so I can run things there. But now, let's say that I want to actually do something. I mean, because we don't get paid to play. Well, I get paid to play, but most people don't get paid to play, it seems like. So let's see if we can actually build something. This Nextmo CLI, let's try it out. We got, where's the numbers? There's our numbers list. Okay. Let's see. Can I Nexmo number by Nexmo number search. Oh, okay. Okay. Let's try that. Let's go. Ooh. What if we said, well, that's the CLI. That's Nexmo. That's not Nexmo's. What I think I want to do. Ooh, you know what I thought we could do? Client SDKs and tools. Let's go to SDKs, JavaScript SDK. Oh, there it is. Next one, client. Okay. Let's copy that and run it here. Here, I'm going to show you one other thing real quick. That's kind of pretty fancy, as Eggsy tells us. So if you look at that, it's updated my package JSON with Nexmo client. Let's see. If I want to do something, let me see. Let me get out of that. Where would I? It's going to take me to the code. Okay. So I should just really copy and paste this, right? I'm going to have to plug all these things in, and I could probably do that with environment variables too. Messaging. Maybe we can send an SMS. Let's try it. We'll need these things. So let's also go npm install .env, because it makes my heart happy. I understand it pretty well. Let's do require .env .config. That way we can get that stuff out of there. Now I technically, oh, you know what? I just realized npm uninstall .env. Now, what is, can you think of like one of the main reasons you would have .env installed in your like JavaScript project? Anyone? Bueller? That's good coffee. It's actually pretty late for coffee. I didn't think that through. It's for this exact situation where you have multiple developers and you have environment variables that need to be set up. Yeah, environment variables and keys and stuff that need to be set up. So you might have like a .env file in your project, right? But you probably don't check that in because you're not, completely out of your mind. So maybe you have a .env-example or something like that, right? And that one probably says something like, okay, API key and API secret. API key equals API secret equals, and the example is probably empty. It just looks like this. And then you have your like .env file with, whatever it actually is. Don't worry, that's not really my API key and secret. But the whole point of that is so that when a new developer comes on, they can go, oh, okay, copy the .env example, paste it, rename it .env, set the values in there, and I'm good to go, right? But I don't want them to have to worry about this. So I'm not going to put those files in there. Oh no, I'm not. I'm not going to do it. Instead, I'm going to come in here. I don't think it's here. Yeah, it's in my Docker file, which I need to move over it and kind of hide out a little bit. Let me just like hit enter a lot of times. Okay, so I've got this Docker file. Interesting note, view documentation says .env should be committed .env.local should not. Yeah, I don't agree with that. To me, .env is what env local is. But I'm telling you, Parathon, listen, trust me. Don't read documentation. When have we ever read documentation that was right? Of course not. We don't trust documentation. We're developers. We go build it, and once it blows up, then we go look at documentation. We never commit the .env, and now I'm going to show you don't even need .env. Because we're probably using some kind of dummy account, right? We've got some kind of developer account for this stuff, right? So I've got to remember how to do this. How do I set environment variables? Docker file set environment variable. I think it's .env equals, right? Look at my Google foo. And I'm copying from the answer. You can set arg variable name and reference env equals that. Yeah, it's env. I thought it was env. Yeah, but I'm not going to use an arg because I'm not passing anything in. I'm just going to set it. Set it and forget it, my friend. Set it and forget it. So I can say env API secret. What were the other ones I need? Let's just copy this and paste it in here. API key. We're going to have to set these. I've already got API secret. Okay, env app ID. Do. And just for clarity, I want to be like as real as possible with you, okay? I don't know that I've ever used the Nexmo CLI. I don't know that I've ever used the Nexmo client SDK because I usually use the Vonage Video API, and I pretty much stick to my Vonage Video API. So I haven't played with this very much. So this is all new. So we're going to learn together. We're learning. It's a two for one. You came here for the late night build. You did not get it. I apologize. But hopefully this is helping you in some way. If not, again, I apologize. You get what you paid for. Oh, that's good coffee. Okay. Let's see. If I was going to do this, so then all these, I can just say process.env. Right. Deception. Yeah. Oh wait, I'm passing in options, but I don't have options. What are my options? What are my options here? That's an options. Okay, let's just create an object rather than making it a name. Let's just say it's an object. Debug true. I wanted to write stuff because I don't know what I'm doing here. Logger. Oh, that's interesting. You can set up a custom logger. I like that. That's really cool. That's cool, man. That's cool. I like that. Okay. What else? Okay, let's see what these are. This is from Nexmo. If application ID and private key are present, API is optional. API secret. Okay. Application when creating JOTs. Okay. I don't think I'm going to be doing that. The private key is used when creating JOTs. Okay. I don't think used for signing. So that looks like I need it. API signature secret from Nexmo for you. Used for signing SMS message requests. Signature method matching the one you gave Nexmo for used for signing SMS. Let's try this. Let's go look at my dashboard. Send an SMS. Oh, I logged out. Okay. That's okay. I know how it works. I know how to log into this thing. All right, client equals new credentials. Okay, they're just using that. They're just using API key and secret. Client equals new. What? Oh, that's C sharp. Hey, Michael, how about we don't copy the C sharp? Maybe we should look at the node. How about it? Let's do that. That's not right though. Oh, I think that's right. That's all we need. Okay, I'm just going to copy and paste all this. Oh yeah. Is that one of my numbers? Yes, it is. Wait, do I own that number? Where's it at? That's all there is. Hello from Vine just missed me. We done did the do. Okay. So what if I oh, wait. I've got to set up those environment variables. So I don't need these. I just need API key and secret. Let me move that off so I can copy and paste those in there. API key. No. There's secret. I done learned where it is. Okay. So then let's rebuild this container so that it will add those environment variables and see if it works. What's the worst that could happen? Okay, I should be able to run it. Node index.js. What? Oh, we're going to npm install because oh yeah. Oh, that's nice. No, it doesn't hot reload. Now it will sometimes, Cyrus. It'll tell you. I think it's when one of those files changes, it'll pop up and say, "Hey, it looks like your Docker file or your dev container file changed. Do you want to recreate?" And then you have the option. It just dawned on me though. Let me move this over. One other thing we need to do. So you remember in that Docker file where I said API secret equals whatever, API key equals whatever. Then earlier we had like npm install the Nextmost CLI globally. We had Nextmost set up with our credentials. We probably want to add to that Docker file something like run npm install, so that when you run this container for the first time, it's going to go ahead and do the do for you. Because I mean, how many times I just did it? I just tried to run that, and because it had recreated the container, none of those node packages are there anymore. Let's rebuild it. So just add that to the Docker file so that it'll install all the CLIs you want. Last thing it does is npm install. So technically, we should be able to do it now. Node index.js, maybe? Oh, did it not do it? Did it not do it? Cannot find module nextmo. Did it not run npm install? Oh, did I install the wrong thing? I think I did. Darn it, Jim. I think I installed the, oh. npm install nextmo. Did I not do that? Heck is Jason. I didn't. Darn it, I installed the wrong thing. I don't know why I'm installing it because I'm about to rebuild this container. Okay. Rebuild the container. So it's going to start all over. It's going to destroy the container, rebuild the whole thing, and hopefully run npm install and all that. Hopefully. before we even get into it. So now when I go index, that should have just texted my cell phone. Did it? That wasn't it. Path. I think we sent the message in the right? We sent it in the message. We did the do right there. Oh, is that the right phone number? Did I put in the right phone number? I need to make sure I own that number. Let's see if I do. Where's my account? Numbers. Your numbers. 2014439. Yeah, that's I got one. There it is. SMS. Let's see. Overview. Does it have anything? Delivery. Yep, it says it sent one today. Or it says it sent one. Wait, not June. What why is it giving me that date? Node. Response ended with a 200. So it says it got it. Let's try it again. Oh, did I have that number turned on for SMS? Been important too. Where's that? Where's my numbers? Numbers. Where did my numbers go? Not applications. Numbers. SMS and voice. The world. That's interesting. Let me try another number. Your numbers. Let's do that one. From this number to. Yeah, that looks right. I'm getting a 200. I wonder if it doesn't like an exclamation point. No, if I had given it the wrong API key and secret, though, it wouldn't have got a 200, right? It would have gone wrong. What have we done to you? I think I've actually got that number in here. 350. There it is. Oh, I wonder if it's because I've got webhooks set up on them. Let's see. And this is what we do at live to see the things that go wrong. Yeah, Exy. But see, look, this is perfect because I can now give this video to members of our team who work on this and say, this is what people go through. How can we simplify that, right? That's the whole, that's I've hit it 3 times now. I can't do that. I love sending SMS messages. I don't think so. Because it's sending the message as part of, see that text? I love sending messages, SMS messages. It's sending it as part of the path there, not part of the body. And I'm not controlling that. That's actually the CL, the library itself. Turn this off. Actually, I don't even need that whole object. Does that send anything back, I wonder? Is it here? Options parameter. I have a keyboard now. It looks right to me. You can enable the delivery receipts. You can. Is that an option? Send the callback command. Okay, is that an option? Webhook endpoint, the delivery receipt for this SMS is sent to you. Is the callback a URL? Or to be a string? And that's in the, is like an option here or something? Is that options? String message. Oh no, it's after that. Null. And then do eat. And we'll say function do eat takes something and console derp something. I don't know what it looks like. Go. Yes, send a URL and set that status request something to true, I think. Cannot set property from null. It got null back. Yes, send a URL and set that status request something to true, I think. This. So you're not talking about the callback of the JavaScript. That's the API there. You're not talking about like that. Where's it at? Did I lose it? This has a callback on it, right? If we look, darn it, comma, callback with message error or message response. Oh yeah, let's do error response. If error, console log error, console derp response. What do I get with that? That's not a callback when it's delivered. Message count, status 4, bad credentials. Yeah, you meant the API parameter callback. That is a URL that would be a webhook that I'd hit back into. Yeah. But I mean, I think I found my problem right there. It's not getting those credentials. Okay. So what I'm going to do, this may not be kosher. So let's see. Console derp an object that looks like that. Now, for me to console derp that, I'm moving this VS Code into a different window so you can't see what it says. But if it says null, I know that it's something's done gone wrong. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that. Son of a gun. I know what the issue is. Okay, let me clear that out. My credentials are wrong. That's my problem. And I know exactly why. It's my own darn fault. Silly rabbit. You know what, let me copy these down further in my Docker file so I can just show you what the issue was. Yeah. In my Docker file, I'm setting the environment variables automatically. This looks right, doesn't it? Environment, API key, the API key. Looks right. Don't you think? Does anybody see a problem with that? I'll go ahead and tell you, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not what I had there. I had that. That is wrong. No, I didn't forget the equals. You shouldn't have an equals. So it's loading this as my API key. And the same way with my API secret. So it is bad credentials. Yeah, so that's kosher, which means I need to rebuild my container because, hey. Environment variables changed. Okay. Let's see. Oh, did I run anything? I didn't run anything there. Node index.js. You also need to rotate your credentials. Yes, Lorna, I do. There it goes. Okay. So it came back. Text message. I love sending SMS messages. Worked like a champ. Ooh, I love that it sends back how much of my credit I have left and how much this message cost. That's pretty legit. Should have closed Slack. Why did I not close Slack before streaming? Who is it from? Let's see. The number right there that says from. What a surprise. Sending SMS never gets old. Yeah, it's really simple when you don't screw it up. So yeah, let's take this as an example project. Now, you know, granted, I put in my account, like the API key and secret, into my Docker files spin up, right? So it's got env and API key equals, API secret equals. Those are not things you normally want to be checking in, certainly never to a public repo, right? So that context is kind of specific to a private repo. But you can see where now a new developer, I'm going to close out of that and close down these. Get out of that. Okay, so let's just say I'm in this folder now. Oh, you know what? What the heck? Don't install code right now. Going back in there, all that code is still in that same containers folder that I created. It's got my package JSON still updated. Everything is in there that I wrote. Matter of fact, if we open up that index.js file, open it with Notepad, the world's greatest code editor. You can see it. It's all the code we wrote inside that container. Pretty slick, isn't it? So if I open up that container now, oh yeah, you know what I want to do? I want to do something else. Let's do Docker. What's it? DC-PS. Is that right? That's not right. DC Docker container. Is it ls? Yeah. So I could have done DC ls. Yeah. Let's say, so there are no running containers. Let's do DCLS all. See, there's that VS Code container that it created for me to code in. See, it's exited about a minute ago. It was created, I'm going to say, copy that, and let's do DC, Docker container remove, I think. Docker container CX, is that it? There we go. Okay. So now if I run list them all, so there, what the heck? What is it? Docker container. Is it remove 272? Docker container. Attach. RM. Docker container RM 272. There we go. So now if I list them, as you might can tell, I've been doing some OpenTalk accelerator work inside of containers. I'm just not telling you that this stuff is cool and you should do it. I'm telling you, I'm eating the dog food, my friends. I'll do that wrong. This up so we can see it. Container ID. Oh, you know what? I just realized we can open up code and see. Look at that. You see, can you see it behind me? VS Code opens your last folder by default. It opened it up and says, hey, this folder has a .dev container. That means I'm supposed to be running it in a container. So it's trying to, and will succeed, in creating that container all over again, npm install, all that kind of stuff. So it's loading it up automatically. You can't really see it just below there. No, now you can. Now you can't. Now you can. Over there, starting the dev container, and right here, opening remote. It's firing up. Don't eat dog food. Have a barbecue instead. That way, when you say my steaks, what's the matter? I'll tell you a secret about me. Me and my family used to own a barbecue restaurant. We did indeed. You talk about barbecue, you're speaking my love language. I may just have to go eat barbecue tonight. I actually had barbecue for lunch. Yeah, so now if I do node index.js, but this one I don't want to change it. I want to say, we done did the do again. That looks like it happened. We done did the do again. I got it. I think that's pretty cool. So we've got that CLI set up in there, so I can do nextmo numbers list inside of this. There's my numbers. But again, I will remind you that in my local PC, I don't have that nextmo CLI set up. Numbers list. It's going to say, what the what? What the what? What the what? There's no nextmo. That's right. It's not installed. But it is in the container. So now, as a developer, I don't have to have anything but Docker, VS Code, and that one extension installed. And when I spin up that code, all is well with the world. Okay? Bald Bearded Barbecue sounds delicious. No, it's actually called Old Smoky Barbecue. Yeah. And it was delish. Let me... Actually, it was a great place. But one Easter Sunday, I was driving home, and I had she's now 14. She was a few years younger then. She was in the truck with me, and she's like, Dad, I'm glad you've got Old Smokies because I know you love it. And she goes, but sometimes I wish you didn't have it. And I was like, why not? And she's like, so that you can spend more time with us. And I was like, oh, well, that's just, as a dad, that just stabbed me right in the heart. So I went right home and told my wife, called my family, and said, listen, everybody, we're selling the restaurant. That's it. And we sold the restaurant. Now we have to pay for other people's barbecue. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, yeah, it hit me right in the feels. I'm like, oh, I'll sell that business. Anyway, so after the stream tonight, I get to play Play-Doh. I get to put together a puzzle. I also have to do yard work. And something else. What is the other thing I'm supposed to do? I don't remember. Something on the Switch, I think they wanted me to do. Anyway, so let's get this. We've got this running. We know we can do CLIs and SDKs inside the container without having to install it. A new developer can now, just install those few things and be ready to go. But let's get really crazy. You want to? I've never tried what I'm about to try, but if you want to try it with me, we're going to get really out there. You want to try something out there? I'm going to close this down. Let's get out there. This is experiment time. It absolutely is, leading lady. I've never done this before. But, okay. Here's the thing. I was about to say 6 months. It was longer than that. Matter of fact, I always talk about this coffee I drink because I got it as a speaker gift at DevOps Days in Chattanooga. It's a local coffee there, and I order it monthly by pounds. At that conference, I gave a talk on developing inside containers. You did not hear the talk today. Otherwise, you'd have been it would have melted your brain. And I don't want to melt your brain. I want you to come back, and watch again later. After the conference is over, I was approached by these 3 guys who work for the Department of Defense in the US. And they're like, we want to talk to you more about this. Because they have serious security things they have to work through. For instance, they can't take somebody's laptop to the conference room and show code. They have to get all kinds of signatures and permissions hey, it's a real big deal about who can have access to the code on their machine and all this rigmarole. So they're like, what could we do? Could we use something like this to help us? We certainly think we probably could, because we could run it in a container somewhere else and then remote into that container. Or I'm like, yeah, you certainly can do that. But I proposed a solution to them. I don't know if they ever took it and ran with it and tried it. I've never tried it, but just for grins and giggles, it's a Friday afternoon. Do you want to try it? Here's my idea. We just gave an example of, I don't have to have these secrets. I don't have to have these SDKs and CLIs installed locally, right? They're all going to run in the container. But the first thing I have to do, I have to have Docker, VS Code, and that extension. That's not going to change. But the first thing I did in this example was I've got to git pull or git clone that repo with our code, right? But maybe I don't necessarily want everybody having a lot of access to different repos. Or maybe I've got 10 apps, right? Maybe I've got 10 microservices it's not a mono repo. They're all in their own repo, but it's one application, right? What if we had those 10 repos? We're not going to make 10 repos, spoiler. You know what? Let's go create some repos. Darn it. It's Friday night. I've got nothing but time. Let's go. New repository. I'm going to call it test 1. Is that a good repository? I think it is. It's public. I don't need you to do anything to it. Just create it. Thank you. Okay, so let me go and I do to set this up. I do need to do some stuff. Let me go MJ. Git clone https github.com/michaeljolley/test1. While that's going, I'm going to say create a new repository. Call it test2. It's public. Thank you. Go ahead and clone that down. Git clone. Just do the same thing, but test2. Okay, so I've got 2 repositories here. Mistake 1. Cyrus, I missed a great opportunity. Create 10 repos. No, let's just create 2. Okay, well, we do need to make another one. Okay, so I've got 2 repos now. Let's create a third. And what are we going to call it? We're going to call mistake of mistakes. It's like the biggest mistake of them all. It's also public. Okay, and then I'm going to git clone mistake of mistakes. All right. Warning, you appear to have cloned an empty repository. That's okay. That's true. That's true. Create one. I get it. Let's see. CD test 1. Let's go into that one. Let's open that in code. Ooh, do I want to do this? Oh, son of a gun. Yeah. Let's add a README. This repo was your first mistake. Okay. I'm done with you. Let's go. No. I'm not done with you. Git add, git commit. First mistake. I should have done mistakes were made. Push it up like a boss. Okay. Let's do the same thing. Go to new readme.md. This was another intentional. I feel like I should misspell it. Mistake. Matter of fact, let's add another file. Let's call it index.js console log. Oh, you done did the don't. I want to put that in quotes. Now. Okay. Close that down. npm. No, not npm. Just to test that, let's go node index.js. Oh, you done did the don't. Now, yeah, it works. I've tested. I've got unit tests and everything. Git add, git commit. Mistakes were made. Push that up. Okay, and then let's back out of that directory and go to mistakes of mistakes. Okay, and then open this in code as well. This is where it's going to get a little freaky. Are you ready for this inception-y mess? Readme.md. Oh, you done did it now. Test 1. Our first mistake. Test 2. So funny. My markdown linter is like correcting me. Oh, you need just one space after that. The second mistake. Okay. And then, so this is mistake of mistakes. Are you, oh, holy free holies. I hope this works. We're going to create a folder and we're going to call it test 1. We're going to create a folder and call it test 2, but we're not going to put it in that folder because that would be a mistake. See what I did there? In that, we're going to create another folder, call it dev container. In this one, we need to create a folder called dev container. Oh, did you say steak? No, did not. In there, we need to create a file called dev container.json. We need to create a docker file. In this one, we need to do the same. Dev container.json and Docker file. Oh, holy, free holy. Free holy. Let me do this. Let me go into a different directory. CD nextmo. What did I call this? CD containers, I think. Yeah. Let's open this in code just so I can look at files. Mistake. It's funny you say that. My Nate, my son, is in, what grade is he in? He's in like pre-K. He's like 4 years old. His teacher's name is Virginia. He calls her Miss Virginia. And he is convinced that our grand United States of America has a state called Miss Virginia. The state's not even called Virginia or Virginia. It's called Miss Virginia. That kid. I'm going to copy that and come paste it over here. And then let's do this one and come paste it over here. That's gonna, I need to get rid of all this kind of stuff. Get rid of this, get rid of all these extra runs of things. Awesome. Copy that, put it there. Copy that, put it there. Save it all, save it all, save it all. Okay, close that version of code down. Let me get, I don't know if I need that window anymore. Okay. So if we look, we've got a test1 folder that has a .dev container in it, a folder with a JSON and a Docker file, just like, it's almost like normally if we were going to open this folder in a container, we would have had that .dev container in our root, but we're not. Oh no, my friend. We're going to say, that's okay. Let me think of what we need here. Okay, let's let's think through. Maybe I want to, how could I install git bash. Not on Windows. Tell me how I can install bash like with a command line. What would a command be for that? What would a command be? App get install git. Okay, well that's pretty doggone easy. Okay, so if I wanted to do run, is it sudo apt install git? Yeah. Let's do that in both of those. Oh my. And then let's come over here and say on post create, after you've created this container, I want you to git clone. What is this? This is test one, right? ACPS / github.com/Michael Jolley /test1. What's the from line of this Docker file? From is this container here with that parameter. That parameter comes from our dev container JSON. So like in this case, by default, it's going to try and install node 14. But in our thing here, we could have said 10, and it would install node 10. Does that make sense? If we don't provide this, then it's going to install 14 Buster by default. You'll likely need that. Okay, let's put that in there. Put it in both of them. Okay, so both of these are going to install git first thing. When it spins up this container, when it builds the container, part of that build process is also installing Git. And then over here in our post create command, we're going to say, hey, listen, clone this repo. And then I'm going to come over here and say, clone test2. I wonder if this is going to work. Like I said, this was just an idea I gave them. I didn't know if it would work. It was just a thought. But I thought, hey, let's try it out. Let's see. Go back to our correct folder here. Git add, git commit. Oh, we done did it now. Git push. Okay, open up my Explorer. Where is that? Test 1 and test 2 are right there. I'm going to delete them. So I've still got this mistake of mistakes, ls. I've got test 1 and test 2. If I cd test 1, nothing in there except a dev container. Oh. Let's see what we can do. Let's make sure I know I get pulled there. Let's go. Okay, we still have to tell our developer to clone a project or a repo. But if in the real world, if we had this app called Mistake of Mistakes, but it wasn't a monolith, and we had a repo for test 1 and we had a repo for test 2, the person's going to have to clone them both, right? That's at least 2. Rambling Geek coming in hot with the raid. Welcome, Rambling Geek. I hope you had a good stream. I was lurking in your stream earlier. I know you were doing the Blazor. How'd it go? How are you enjoying Blazor so far? You should really, hey, Rambling Geek and those who are watching Rambling Geek, you need to go check out. You need to check it out. Let me go find it. Yeah, I think that's it. Is that it? Yeah. Nexmo.com/blog. The reason I say you need to go check it out is our .NET developer advocate, Steve Lorello, has been writing some really cool posts about Blazor. See if we can find one. Build an SMS dashboard with Blazor WebAssembly. What? Yeah. He is all about that Blazor life right now. Build a voicemail app with .NET Core. Play an audio call with Visual Studio Code, or excuse me, ASP.NET Core MVC. I'll learn to read in a minute. Spoiler, he didn't. How to receive SMS delivery receipts with ASP.NET Core. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. So he goes through the whole rigmarole. He's got some really good Blazor stuff that he's putting out. We are learning how to build inside of Docker containers, and we're actually experimenting with some really wild ideas. So let's say that we have this big application that's made up of multiple services. In our case, it's just made up of 2, but it's not a monolith. So like service 1 has its, or test 1 we're calling it, has its own repo. Test 2 has its own repo. I thought we were learning how to make the mistakes. We learn to make mistakes by learning to make other things. The mistakes just come naturally. It's not something we'll have to learn. It's like I never had to teach my kids to be stingy. I had to teach them to share. It's just natural. So in the past, if you have some developer working on your big project, they've got to go clone project 1. They got to go clone project 2. But what if we could like use some kind of crazy inception with our repos and make one repo of repos? Even though it's not a monolith, we have one repo, as you see here, that has test 1 that only has a .dev container and the files needed in that, and test 2 with a dev container with just that. Part of that, Word, thanks for the follow. Good to have you with us. As part of that, one of the things we put in our post create command is, like in this case, we're under test 2 dev container. Inside there, we're telling it hey, when you build out this container, clone that test2 repository into this container. So any developer coming onto the team never has to clone more than our project, our big, massive monolith repo that has nothing in it except these dev container folders. What? Actually, that's hilarious. Okay, so let me go. We're in mistakes and mistakes. Okay, so this is our project with the big stuff. What if I go cd test1, because we cloned this repo. So we've got test1 and test2 folders. And now I'm going to open that in code. What happens? Folder contains a dev container configuration file. Reopen it in a container. Okay, reopen in container. Let's see if it works. I don't know if it will. We are living, this is like bleeding edge. Look at that. That folder was not in our directory. It added that test1 folder because it cloned it down. What? You need to be careful. If you make changes, then for some reason rebuild the container before you commit changes, you'll lose all your work. Mistakes being made. That's true. Look at that. So now we don't have to, so like I gave the suggestion to those Department of Defense people. Little did I know that it would work. So now all those developers, that they don't have to have access to all those simple repos. You could just have it clone into your container. Now, one thing I'm curious about though is let's look in our directory. This isn't a container, but what if I say, oh yeah, look at that. There's normally an option in the context menu to find this in Explorer. You don't get that option. What if I close this down and now I go into that directory? Ooh, look, I've still got the source code there. I don't necessarily want that. Can we automate the cleanup? Because I don't want you to access, because like if I do git status here, see, it's got this code in this repository now. I don't want that. Which I guess technically you could add see, let's back it up. Open that in code. You technically could say, no, not there, in the root. Dot get ignore. Let's ignore test1 / test1, and then same deal, test2 / test2. Right? Get status. There we go. So now, even when we cloned it into those folders, we don't ever commit it back into that master project or repo. Oh, this is sick. This is sick. What if I don't want you to see that code? What if, I mean, it's not like you'll have the code, but maybe you're working on this code, but when you leave for the day, like, remember, this is like the Department of Defense. Like they don't want you like taking your laptop home with this. Maybe we have it set up to where when you stop the container, we kill that directory. Oh, holy free holy. Holy free holy. I don't know if we can do that. There is a post create, but I don't think there's like a shutdown. Yeah, we may not be able to do this. Let's look at the documentation. Create a dev container, attach to a container, dev container JSON. Do I have more things here? The image, build file at Docker, context, build args, build target, the app port, container environment, remote environment, container user, remote user mounts, workspace mount, override command, override, tell us run. Oh, that's the default. On a more practical note, can you use Docker Compose with dev containers? You can, Exy. You can do Docker Compose inside of that Docker container. You absolutely can. It's very Inception-y. Next episode, use submodules and local files so the changes persist on disk regardless of what your containers are doing. Wait. Let me get that again. Use submodules and local files so the changes persist on disk regardless of... They already do. They already do persist. If I was to go into that directory, that test one, that container is gone, but I've still got the stuff that was cloned into it. Because it just mounts that folder as a volume mount in the container. But I kind of want to get rid of it. Then I'm confused about the earlier comment about losing changes. Because I specifically said we want to delete the content. We want to delete the files. So in the case of like the Department of Defense, who says, no, okay, we want you to do exactly what we've just done, but when you shut down for the day, we want it to delete that code off your drive. If you rebuild, your git pull will run again, and it will overwrite those directories. No, I don't think that'll work, Finite. Let's see. Let's test that theory. CD test one. Open that in code. It should try to spin us up in a container, or ask us to. It does. Let's test your theory there. So I've got this README. Let's add a file. And we'll call it index.js. Console log is finite singularity correct. Okay, I'm going to close that down. Close the whole directory down. I'm going to close it all down. Close it all. You're all get out. Get out, all of you. All of you, get out. Oh, I didn't create it in the right folder. Let me move it to where it should have been. So it's in that folder. That test one was what was cloned. So let's go Docker container ls. It's turned off, so all. Docker container rm e9. Okay. So that container should be gone. It is. Let's go code. Open it back up in code. So now it's going to have to completely rebuild the container. Reopen a container. File's still there because it volume mounts the folder. It would have still did a git clone there, but I think if you try to git clone into the same directory you're in and it's already got a git folder, it doesn't do the do. Like if I did git clone, I would, yeah, if I did git clone https github.com/michaeljolley/test1. Yeah, it doesn't, because it volume mounted it. The folder's already there. It can't do that. So when it rebuilt this container, this error would have happened. The catch is for that person, for that DoD person, what I want to do is when the container closes, I want to delete that test one folder, which means you better have committed and pushed. I closed it down. Darn it. Yeah, remember that what I said about, yeah, we don't need this browser anymore? Spoiler, we did. Where are those? Def container JSON. Docker compose. This is if I'm using Docker compose. General name experience for post create command, post start command, post attach, initialize. See, there's no post create, post start, post attach. But there's no, I don't see a command for before you get out of here. shutdown action. Oh, indicate whether VS Code should stop the container when the VS Code window is closed or shut down. None or stop container, which is default. So it stops the container by default, but you could tell it don't stop the container even when I shut down. That overrides the startup. Mount, update remote user, container user, environment. Oh, that's pretty cool. We could have set those environment variables up in our JSON file. We could have set, instead of saying env whatever, we could have said container environment. What is it? Is name value pairs? Yeah, well, we could have said, you know, my variable is a widget. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, that's pretty slick right there. Look at that too. You could also inject your local variables into it. So if you had an environment variable locally, you could do, how did it say it? Local env colon widget. So if I had a local environment variable that was widget, I could pass that into my widget var. That's neat. Build target, build args. Yes, there's no way to do that cleanup at the end, which I don't think most people would want to do that. It'd just be in this weird use case. Pretty cool though. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm going to close that one down. So that does prove that we can do what we wondered. Let's get out of this and let's go cd nextmo. Next. Oh, not high enough. And what was this called? Containers? Yeah. I want to open that in code. And just to show something off for grins and giggles. Yeah, reopen it in the container. Let's npm install express. It'd probably be easier to just re-image the drive on user logout. Yeah, actually, you could do that. The catch is you got to be sure that you commit your stuff. What would be really nice is to have an exit command, like on shutdown command, so that you could say get, I mean, technically, since you could start it up, we could have told it get clone and then get branch, whatever the date is and the user. And then if you could do on the shutdown, say get add, get commit, get push it up to the repo. So then, but then you wouldn't be able to get it the next day. There are things you could do that would be kind of wild and wacky. I'm going to go look at Express. I never remember how to even do the most basic things in Express. You might say, Michael, why not? Because I know I can always come and look at the documentation, and there's no reason for me to ever put that stuff in my brain, knowing I can just come and copy and paste it. All right, so I want to, the docs always exist, yes. We're going to listen to port 3000, and let's do this. Instead of saying hello world, let's do send an SMS. Up top. Is that it? Yeah. Let's put all this up there, yes. Okay, so on get of 3000, just because you can doesn't mean you should. That's true. I wonder what kind of shenanigans you could do combining this idea with GitHub Actions. Pull per user, always updated branch. Yeah, that finite. That's exactly where I was going. Was could you do like a pull request and automate merges and stuff like that on a daily basis, and then like eventually, there's just some wild stuff you could do there. Same reason I never ask API questions in interviews. Useless, trivial info to keep when you have a whole monitor dedicated to Google. Yeah, there's only so much information my brain can hold. Scott Hanselman, I saw Scott Hanselman talk one time, or maybe it was, I think I was just in a call with him, but he was talking about, I think he did a blog post about it too. He was saying like, you only have so many keystrokes in your life. Okay. So like the minute you start typing as a little baby to the minute you are, 98 years old, sending those last SMSs, sending that last tweet. Peace out. I'm out, yo. That's kind of morbid. Anyway, you've only got so many key presses, right? And he was saying, so when somebody sends me a question, like it sends me a tweet or sends me an email, says, hey, how do you X? He's like, I treat that as a gift. I just kind of put it off to the side. I don't normally respond to that person. What I'll do is write a blog post about it and then post that blog post and then reply and say, hey, here's the answer. And then with those key presses, he has answered that question for a lot more people. His key presses had more meaning in that context, which is kind of interesting. I don't know where I was going with that, but I'm sure it was very deep and you're like really inspired about it. Let's see, send SMS and then result. Oh. Let's see. I can see result.send 200. Oh no, what is it? Is status 200.send. There we go. Okay, we're ready, fellas. Let's do it. All right, I'm gonna have to rebuild this container because do I have to reinstall? Oh yeah, I do, but I got to change something first. I got to come up here and say, where's it at? Forward ports. Oh, you know what? I didn't have to do it. Check this out. This is kind of cool. So I know that I'm about to serve this Express app on port 3000, but it's port 3000 in the container. It wouldn't do me any good. I can sit here, darn it, Michael, and say, son of a gun, 3000. I can do that. And then anytime this container starts up, I did install npm in Express inside the container. So because I set that forwarded ports to 3000, anytime it creates this container, it's going to automatically create a map between 3000 in the container to 3000 on the host. Now, sometimes you don't want a direct mapping like that, right? In that case, you have to use text. Like I think that's the format. This is host, so maybe 80 to 3000. Host to container. In this case, I just want 3000. I can do that, but if I'm in the midst of this, maybe I don't want to I could reach down here to the bottom and hit rebuild the container again, but I don't really want to. I'm just going to run it. It's listening on port 3000, and I added that code to forward that port after I had built the container. So it's not forwarding. I could rebuild the container. I think though I can, let's see, is it remote containers? Where is it at? Oh, they may have removed this feature. They did. They removed this. There used to be an option there to go ahead and open it while it was still running. Okay, let's just stop it and I'll rebuild the container. There used to be a way to do that while they did. I think they did. It was pretty buggy. I never had a problem with it. But regardless, now it should work. Let's go node index.js. So what exactly is this? Oh no, not attached to container. So in the past, this extension had a thing that said, hey, I realized that he's serving up on port 3000 locally, but he hasn't exposed it to his port 3000. So it would have an option there that says, open up port 3000. Okay, so it's listening on port 3000. Let's go to it now. My console over there shows something happened. I got a 200 response back. There's my text message. We done did the do again. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So if I had a view app running in the container, I could just open it up and test it here and set breakpoints. What? What is this? What? Okay, let me stop it. Run and debug. Node. Okay. I'm going to set a breakpoint right there. I'm going to refresh this page. Bam. I just hit localhost 3000 in my local browser, and it's debugging JavaScript running inside this container. I'll give you a minute to pick your brains up. I know they're everywhere. You clean that up and come back when you're ready. Step through it. Paint. Yeah. I just got another text message. I just realized I just sent myself another one. That's pretty sick, isn't it? Got a 200 back. I got another text message. All is well with the world. That's pretty legit. What do you think? What do you think? Have you learned something today? Hopefully, you're going to go play with this later. Do you want to go play with this? Michael, where can we learn more? Well, heck, I don't know. Where could you learn more? GitHub.com/Michael Jolley. That's not where you would learn more. But I think I've got a repo where you could learn more. Nope. I suppose I could just search. Seems like that would be easier just to search. That's it. Oh wait, you know what? Maybe. I bet I've got the links up there. There's some links I'll show you. Talks. Where did I give this talk? I gave it at DNN Summit. There we go. Copy that link. I'll share that with you. There's a link to the remote development extension. Here's a link to the documentation. Here's some sample code for you. I'll drop that in there. There's where you can learn more about those extensions. They're kind of cool. Listen, do me a solid here. If you enjoyed this, which I'm sure you did, hit that follow button because this party's not going to end just tonight. Okay, so this is the time slot of the late night build, and yet this is not the late night build. That's because the late night build is no more. F's in chat. Pay your respects to the late night build. But mistakes were made. Oh, it's here to stay, my friend. It is here to stay. In fact, it'll be here every week on Tuesdays, not Fridays. We're going to move it starting next Tuesday at what time is it? 11. Is that right? That's not right. Yeah, that's right. 11 a.m. Eastern time. What is that? I think that's like, is that 3 o'clock p.m. UTC? I think that's right. I think my math's checking out. We'll be back every single Tuesday with a new Mistakes Were Made, where we are going to focus on learning one thing every stream. Let's be clear. That won't always happen because mistakes will be made. That's right. Sorry. So yeah, hit that follow so you can get notified. Listen, thank you for hanging out with me today. I really enjoyed it. I really hope you want to check out that stuff and try it out yourself. There's a lot of things you can do with it that are like really legit. You can see like some of the ideas, like some of you were already asking in chat. There's so many things like, oh, could I implement some could I do GitHub Actions with it, or could I do the do? You can do the do. Try it out. Hit me up on Twitter or in our Vonage community Slack. Hit that Slack command in there. We'll give you a link to join our community Slack where we can talk about this anytime you want. Get in there. If you want to learn more about our Vonage Voyagers program, it's like our MVP kind of program. It is really legit what they're doing with those folks. And I hope to have some of those Voyagers on our stream at some point, fixing my mistakes. Let's be clear. If you want to learn more about the Voyagers, you know how this works. They're listed there so pretty for you. Listen, let me tell you one of the coolest things. If you want to write blog posts, if you like writing blog posts, heck, if you don't like writing blog posts, check out our developer spotlight, where you can write blog posts for us using Vonage APIs, and we will pay you $500 or donate that money to a charity of your choice. That's pretty legit, right? Go check out !Spotlight to learn more about that program and get on in there. And then if you want to sign up for a free Vonage API account to play with SMS and it's really cool. The API that I'm really having fun with right now is conversations. It's amazing. We need to do a stream about conversations. Hey, use this coupon code and you can get 10 euros of free credit with your account. The account's free to set up, but you'll get 10 euros, which is a good bit of euros. I got to tell you, I don't think that I've yet used 10 euros. You can see on those messages, where were those? Oh, you can't see it. You can't see my screen. I think it was like pennies for each of those SMSs. So I could send a heck of a lot of SMSs for 10 euros. Hey, we'll be back Tuesday. At 11 Eastern. I've got to remember the new time. 11 Eastern, 3 UTC. We'll check it out then. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. And we'll catch you on the flippity flop. Yeah, it's about 8 cents. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, okay. Bye, everybody. Thanks a lot. See ya.